Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Kohr Racing Network. Tonight, we head to the biggest oval track that there is, the 2.66 mile Talladega Superspeedway. This thing is an absolute beast. We're going to be running around here for 40 laps here tonight in the YESCAR Truck Series. And we are getting down to the end, getting down to the nitty-gritty, getting down to deciding who is going to make it into the playoffs. Again, tonight marks race number, if I can bring it up here, marks race number 8 in the schedule. So 2/3 of the way done after tonight, and we still got 4 more races after tonight, but it's really going to start taking shape. Obviously, we've only had the 3 different winners so far this year. Big Duke, Tyler Halsell grabbing a bunch of wins, and Tuckles, your 3 that are locked in, but everybody else still in there, still up for grabs. We'll take a look at the other point standings here in a second, but before we do, want to bring in my broadcast partner, Joe Sullivan. I am Carl Hamwork, and Joe, we are getting ready for what's going to be, well, a little bit of white knuckling here. We've seen it at Daytona. We get to see it here again now at Talladega.
Yeah, I mean, we go from a small track in Dover last week to the biggest track on the circuit here in Talladega, and going to provide some really good racing. You know, this is the type of racing I really love. If you get the right group of guys who understand, you know, plate racing and the push-in and everything like that, it provides some really good racing. I mean, it really does, but you got to find that really good dancing partner, you know, as so to speak, or whatever, and have somebody push you or be the pushy, and then it's all going to come down to that final lap, as we've seen in Daytona at the first race of the season. So going to be a interesting race here tonight. We'll see what these boys have on tap for us here for 40 laps, and we'll see if somebody else can, you know, jump into that winner's column. You know, the plate races always bring into the wild card factor, you know, somebody who can come out of nowhere, as we've seen a couple weeks ago in NASCAR, where Harrison Burton won. So we'll see who can punch their ticket here tonight.
Well, you talk about wild card, and really the wild card is most tracks, you know, especially tri-ovals, they have their start-finish line right in the middle of that tri-oval. But for those that may not have any kind of knowledge of Talladega, you see it right there. It is out of the tri-oval. So these drivers need to come out of turn 4 and race through the tri-oval before we decide who's going to win. And as the trucks start to peel off right now, we'll take a look at the standings coming into tonight. And it is Tyler Halsell, of course, on top of the boards. Jonathan Tucken is in second, but both those guys are locked in, as is Big Duke down there in 8th place. But Jeff Byers, kind of the best of the rest right now, along with Maxwell Shade in 4th, Chris Gutierrez in 5th, Chris Melton in 6th, Matthew Hott in 7th, Corey Sherman in 9th, and then Francisco grabbing a podium last week, grabbing a 3rd, jumps up to 10th place right now in the standings, and that's going to be really important for him heading into the next couple weeks. But we are getting ready to get this thing underway. We'll take a look at the qualifying results right now as we will bring them up. On top of the boards is going to be Tuckles getting the pole with a 54.976, a huge gap over Chris Melton, 3 thousandths of a second. That's how close it is here. Big Duke going to start in 3rd, Matthew Hott, Riley Romeo, Captain Killama, Tyler Bryan, Tyler Halsell, Maxwell Shade, ZM Racing, your top 10. Then you got Joshua Delaha, Keith Says Yes, James Wagoner, Jonathan Marsh, iRacing inside, rounding out your top 15. And looking at the rest of the order is going to be Michael Funkhauser Jr., Joshua Laughlin, Paul Lawson, Vincent Pagano, Francisco Villarreal, Chris Gutierrez, Kevin Martin, Charles Abert, Scott Gilroy, and Timothy Wright. 25 cars on the field here tonight, but Joe, you really don't necessarily need to qualify at all here, let alone, you know, it doesn't really matter necessarily where you start, other than any kind of bonus points that are coming up there, as you can really move from the back to the front pretty quickly here if you're good enough to do it. But we're about to find out what these boys in the YESCAR Truck Series can do. Pace car is often one of the longest formations all the way around the trial before we get the green flag, but it is waving, and we are racing at the big Talladega Superspeedway.
Yeah, like you said, qualifying isn't that important here as you can really just start at the back. And I'm just terrible at qualifying at these big tracks. I don't know what the cheese is, so to speak. So I always just start in the back anyways. But like I said, my strategy has changed here over the past couple months, where I want to be out front now. You know, just be out front. I mean, you got to be there eventually if you want to win this thing. So get out there and avoid the big one rather than being at the back.
Yeah, I'm right with you on the qualifying. For some reason, I can never fully get it. I know there's little ins and outs and things that you think should work don't work, and it's just kind of all over the place. You know, you figure you drive that high line the first lap, but I've heard that actually driving the low line is better for your tires, and it's all kinds of just really all over the place. You know, when it comes to qualifying here, but there's some guys that just absolutely know how to do it. Man, I almost puts it on the pole here tonight. Certainly getting a little racy back here. You see how wide this track is. I mean, we've been at Daytona, first race of the season, and you can certainly go 2-3 wide there, but Talladega just seems like it just has that extra line. It just has that extra width to it.
Yeah, we see Tyler Helsel, he's jumping down to the back. We got the strategy at Daytona. But yeah, this track is so wide. I mean, you can run it 3 wide, 4 wide. I mean, it's wide enough to do all that kind of racing. And we may get there at come to the end of this thing, but it definitely provides, as I said, it provides really good racing in the right group of guys, and guys who can understand it and, you know, hold lines and perfect their racecraft. So got a new number on that Liberty University machine. He's been in the 16, now he's in the 19.
And really, I mean, this race is 40 laps long, but ultimately, it's going to come down to 2 things. It's going to come down to who has the patience and who your partners are when it comes down the pit road, because you absolutely need to come down with 1, 2, 6, 10 other guys. I mean, you cannot just come into pit lane by yourself. You are going to get destroyed being out of the draft. So, I mean, you need to find some partners, whether you have teammates or not, whether you have, you know, guys that are on different teams that you're just running around at that time. You need to figure out a strategy when you're coming in. This isn't just a strategy of, okay, well, I feel like I need fuel now, or I need tires now. Tires shouldn't be an issue here tonight. I know the trucks definitely dance around a little bit more now, but it's really just going to be a fuel mileage game here, and it gets really interesting when it comes to being the leader out here. Obviously, the leader is the cleanest. Anything is going to happen behind him unless, you know, somebody tags him and starts it. But you're also burning the most fuel out there.
Yeah, I mean, it gets, like you said, the whole strategy comes, and then when you do want to pit, I mean, you don't want to just be 2 or 3 cars. You really want to be as many cars as possible, because even with just pitting with 2 guys, you're not going to be as fast as a pack of 6 to 10 car trucks. I mean, it's just, you have to find, like, you have to find your dancing partners. I mean, until that last, you know, couple laps.
But you need to find partners that are okay driving in a line, especially when you first come out of pits. Like right now, obviously, you know, they're getting a little racy. They're side by side, and even 3 wide back there as Paul Lawson goes to the high side at the start of the 3rd lane up there. But when you come out of the pits, you need to come out with your group, and you need to immediately get in single file racing. That's exactly what you can do to build any kind of gap on your competitors. You know, when you're out here running in this pack, everybody's just kind of drafting all together. There's not going to be that much evident flowing. But if you come out there and everything is all jumbled up from everybody coming in the pits, if you come out there with your 5-6 trucks and you're good just driving in line, whether you're first in line or back there at 6th in line, if you can stay in line, there's a lot of time that you can gap and get away from other groups of trucks that came in or are out of the pits. So it's got to be a lot of give and take, and it's 40 laps long, but realistically, it's about a 2-lap race at the end. You just got to survive until those last couple laps, because you can go from 15th to 1st on the last 2 laps.
Yeah, and it's getting racy here. They got that 3rd line forming up there, and that's when things kind of get dicey and hairy. I mean, and another thing we have to pay attention to here tonight is the overheating. I know these things were real bad about getting hot. you know, you want to push as much as you can, so you're right on that guy's tailgate. But what that does is you don't get any air to the radiator, to the engine, so that engine temperature is going to rise, and the oil temperature is going to rise, and that can lead to some engines failing here. So guys have to be really leery of that. You want to push as much as you can, as hard as you can, but you have to kind of get some air. And what you'll see, some of the guys is kind of dip their truck one way or the other. They just kind of get a little bit of air, like what Tuckness is doing right there. You know, just every so often, just get like a half a truck on the inside of him or the outside of him, and get a little bit of air. Ooh, he got pushed. I look like I'm pushing the pusher there.
Tuckness gonna drop to the back whether he wants to or not. Slides up, but we've got a big wreck, and I think maybe Tuckness got down and out of that at the right moment, as they're still wrecking behind him, and he's going to stay down to the bottom. We'll take a look at what happened on this one, but certainly involving quite a few. Looks like Lawson involved in this, Villarreal involved, as is Jonathan Marsh.
As I said, when it gets to 3 lanes like that, and you guys get bouncing around, it gets you kind of run out of real estate. Ooh, the 5 real loose on entry there.
And trying to see where it actually started.
Oh, the 31 was loose on entry too. Comes down and gets into the 0.
And there it is. Lawson and a Marsh, and then Lawson goes for a bit of a ride. It looks like
50 involved,
the 50
or 60,
and the 60 involved, and right there, the 24
Francisco
takes a shot.
And then when wrecks like this happen, it's pandemonium, and then you're trying to just keep it straight and going, and 14 gets involved, and well,
hard impact there for Pagano, and see Villarreal gets helped around a second time there, so it's gonna be a big, well, not necessarily a Talladega type big one here, but certainly taking out 4 or 5 trucks here early, and gonna need some fast repairs to get this thing back under control. We'll take a look at that one more time, and right on board here with Paul Lawson, and obviously hope you don't have anything in your mouth, and hold your cookies on this one, because he's going to go for a bit of a ride here, as of course he decides to jump back to line. Let's try that one more time.
You can see he kind of caught them at the end of that straightaway there, and I'm speculating here, but I'm wondering if he got off the gas there, and then it just kind of, the air with these trucks, it just upset the truck there.
Just way down there, and
yeah. On the lid, was able to come back around and get on the wheels here.
Yeah, luckily for him, he lands back on the wheels. He's able to drive it away here with whatever truck he does have left.
As we can see, Tyler Helsel right there, able to avoid everything. So him jumping to the back avoids this wreck.
Bring it back live as everyone coming into the pits there, whether they needed to come in the pits or not, and that's one thing that we will see as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're out there for a lap or two, you're probably going to see everyone come into the pits. Even, well, maybe not so much in the last maybe 5 laps or so. You want to maybe try and keep your track position, but until you know you're good to go on fuel, you're going to come down and just take that little bit, because God forbid you're one of the few cars that decides to stay out, whether it's to lead a lap or gain some track position. All of a sudden, you have a long green flag run. You're not going to have any friends to come in there with you. If all these guys come in here on lap number 8, you have 8 laps less fuel than everybody else. It's going to take a lot of convincing to get somebody to come in 8 laps earlier than they really need to. So it's one thing, you just got to bite the bullet and just come in.
Yeah, when sometimes you want to do something off strategy, off kilter to try to, gain some kind of advantage, but not at plate tracks. I mean, there's very few instances where that's going to pay off for you. I mean, because for number one, you have to stay in the pack, like regardless of where you're at on the track or whatever. But you got to stay in the pack with multiple trucks or cars. and you don't want to be, short pitting or whatever. If most of the guys are coming down pit road, you want to go with them. I mean, you kind of have to just do what the majority does here and just stick with it, because you can't be, like you said, 8 laps different on fuel. I mean, that's massive amount of, and if we do go green here, you're a sitting duck. You don't have a chance.
And it's, I mean, you can come in and you can decide to take 2 tires or no tires, but, to gain some track position. But ultimately, you probably want to come in and take 4 tires if you have an extra set. Obviously, you can't just use up all your sets right away, but, if you have 4 tires in there, it's worth taking, because even though you're not necessarily wearing the tires too much, they get hot, they get greasy, and you see these trucks, they dance around a little bit. It's not like they're just glued to the track and glued to that line. So any little bit of assurance and any little bit of, comfort that you can get while you're inside that truck is definitely big.
Yeah, and I just checked the track temperature, and boy, oh boy, man, Duke is on it again here. 136-degree temperature. Wow. Yeah, these boys are going to be jumping around. Yeah, look at that. Dang.
Certainly going to need to check these drivers after the race and rehydrate and get their electrolytes in for sure. I mean, I think we need to see if Gatorade wants to sponsor this series. It's been pretty crazy out here with these track temperatures, and another scorcher out here tonight. And it's going to make this track even slicker and even tougher to drive. I mean, it's easy to say, well, just hold your foot flat to the floor and turn left. Mm-hmm. It's really not that easy.
No, and that may have actually played into that crash there. I mean, we're lap 9 or lap 8 or so, and you get a little bit of heat in that right rear, and away she goes sometimes. I mean, it was a combination of the air and track position there.
How about board here with Keith Powell? Keith says yes on this restart.
Listen to him get up to the gears here.
And I guess aptly running right behind Riley Romeo with the beautiful He Says Yes Motorsports right on the back of it there. Nice and shiny here under the sun, the beating sun here at Talladega.
Yeah. That chrome, it's amazing how they can get chrome to show like that on here. I mean, that's beautiful.
See there to the left, Tyler Hauser once again dropping to the back. Now, I gotta ask you, I mean, we said that this thing, you can run 3 wide. I mean, run 4 wide. You're gonna have some colonies to do that, but you can run 4 wide here. But ultimately, you'll probably see 2 and 3 wide for a majority of this race. The question I have though is, when you're in that truck, I mean, you say you want to be at the front. Obviously, the fastest lane is usually going to be the one that has the most trucks in, but ultimately the side draft is huge. So the middle line ends up being one of the fastest lanes regardless. I mean, you can see one truck by himself work his way from the back to the front just running that middle line, because you're getting double side drafted. I mean, the side draft is big to begin with, but you're getting side draft from the inside truck and the outside truck, and that's why you see the middle line usually is the fastest line, but it's also the scariest, because if that guy on the inside makes a mistake, you're getting collected. That guy on the outside makes a mistake, you're getting collected. So ultimately, Joe, I mean, when you're in one of these plate track races, you enjoy them so much. I'm not so much on that side of it. So which lane do you prefer to run in? Do you like that inside where you just kind of hug that yellow line? Do you like the outside, or are you just a wild man like that middle?
Well, if I'm leading, I'll take the bottom and lead the bottom. If I'm anywhere on the bottom, I do not like it, because you're just trapped right now. Like, you're the 60 to 77, you're Keith Powell, you're trapped. You have nowhere to go. So I don't mind being on the bottom if I'm in the lead, but if I'm not there, give me that middle lane, give me that outside. Because what I haven't seen yet from these guys is what you can do on that outside lane right there is you can side draft that bottom so good that it just slows them down so bad. If you get somebody to just constantly give you pushes and get that outside line going, you can pull away from them. I mean, and be that much faster. And just as gradually, just truck by truck, just pull away if they can get it formed and just keep side drafting them in the corners. Because what you're doing essentially is just kind of choking them down there on the bottom, and you're kind of trap them on that apron there, on that yellow line. And then as you come off turn 2 or turn 4, you kind of drive away from them a little bit. And then as you're going down the backstretch, you can kind of side draft them again and then get more speed off of them and then cruise on down the... See, look right there. Like, they're pulling away just a little bit. If they were formed up a little bit better here, and the 12 was up on there, the 30, and then Jeff Byer is up on the 12, these boys would just be freight training them right now. But they can't, they gotta keep it tight. I mean, I'm talking tight, where it's, you know, nose to tail. I mean, you're not, those guys aren't pushing too much, but you're just right there and you're getting a train going. So that all that air is just, you're knifing right through it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the side draft, it's not necessarily that you're going faster getting that side draft. It's almost more that you're kind of taking your air and really kind of dumping it on those other trucks. And that's why you almost see them kind of suck them right back and pull them right back to you.
That's the joy that I get out of it, and the challenges that come with it is finding that energy within the racing lines and the you know, the drafts here. Is the energy is going to come and go. I mean, but you have to be able to understand who's producing that energy. Number one, you know, you want to know who's the good pushers, who's the guys who can hold their lines, who you can push in certain situations, and whether you're on the inside or the outside. I mean, there's so much information that you have to absorb to be successful in these kind of environments. To run up front. I mean, you have to know all this information to put yourself in a good position too.
Yeah, David, I did forget.
In full 40 laps.
David, I did forget that Brondo does have electrolytes as well, so Brondo would be a good sponsor for this one too.
Brondo, yeah,
so we got President Camacho to give us the invocation before the race next week. We got a good one here, and again, it's one of those that it's so tough. I mean, you know, you're running back here in 5th, 6th place, and you're only a few tenths, not even, off the lead. And like I can just go up there and lead a lap. I can just force it up the middle, or I can get some buddies and go to the outside and try and run up there and get the lead. But ultimately, you got to figure out a way to survive. I mean, it's kind of like a mini endurance race. It's only 40 laps long, but you have to to finish first. You need those first finish. So I mean, you got to just be out there and you got to be in the right spot. And realistically, there's about 20, 30 different spots that you can be in to win this race. And I guess that really comes down to the next question. Joe, you don't really want to lead on the final lap.
It's tough. It really is. I mean, you do, but then, like you said, you don't. It's just all circumstantial. But I mean, did you never want to not lead a race? I mean, I get that part of it, but at least you have the opportunity to, throw that block. Or if you do get past, you want it to be in 1 and 2, so that you have a chance to have a rebuttal in 3 and 4, and even off of 4. You still have to get through the tri-oval, too, at this track. Like you said at the opening there, the finish line is past the tri-oval, which is a huge part of this track, too, because you can get such a run through the tri-oval, too, if you get the right push and the right momentum and a good side draft through there, too. So it's just really fun racing. And that's, who's that on the inside? That 60 is...
That 60 is
down there.
Yeah, iRacing inside, dodging around here a little bit, but still working right now as Byers now to the lead. Captain Kellum into the lead on the inside. He's got ZM Racing right behind him. But, I mean, it seems like Chris Melton out there is more than happy to just run that middle line right now. He's got the 30 of James Wagoner right behind him. They just kind of been hooked up this entire time, and so far so good. Don't want to jinx it for sure, but these drivers are doing a good job. That we got 22 laps to go. The question is, will they come up to a green flag pit stop? Because that's where it gets interesting. It gets to be where you need to figure out again what's going on. But a hard impact there. Looks like we're gonna stay green.
Caution.
And we'll see if that maybe triggers a caution. Doesn't look like it to this point.
No, I think we're gonna
As that was Paul Lawson right there to the outside with the 12 of Tyler Bryan getting sent hard to the outside.
Yeah, that truck's probably broke. He's gonna not the place to crash, because now he's got to go all the way around here. Looks like the right front's got heavy damage.
Trying to bring it back to
either got loose or came down into the 94. Wow, did you see the 30 coming?
Right there, I think you got a little bit of help there, maybe from Tuckles. Sends it up to the outside. A heck of a job by the 72, avoiding that incident right there. But then you see right here,
78.
The 31 of Lawson goes to the outside to try and avoid it, brushes against the wall, and then overcorrects it a little bit. Unfortunately, the 14 of Vincent Pagano is in his path on the way back down, and hard impact. And on top of it here, it recorded Paul Lawson is going through the pits. So if it wasn't bad enough for the 31, probably going to get a speeding or unsafe exit on pit road there as well. But we do stay green. We keep this thing rolling here, and some of these guys are going to come in. It's probably going to add their race. You see the 12 just having trouble getting into pit lane, but back up at the front, getting a little more single file right now at least, as Captain Killam leads the way here. 19 laps to go.
As we should be approaching maybe a green flag stop here. It looks like they got 17 truck breakaway now. They kind of spread them out earlier there, single filing it up.
But again, this is what you need to do. If these guys are smart, they can drag this thing out, and they can try and stretch away from those other trucks behind them. Get in line, all be friends, at least for the next 5 laps or so until that pit stop comes up. I mean, this is their chance to really break away from the field. It looks like we got at least one. We got a couple takers coming in to the pits this time by. And it's going to shuffle up the order. Looks like iRacing side, Jonathan Marsh, Riley Romeo, Joshua Delaha, all in at the pits this time by.
4 of them.
Charles Aber, Scott Gilroy, Kevin Martin, Vince Pagano also coming in.
Oh, we got a bunch more. Okay, so, but they were kind of a couple seconds behind, so we'll see how that shakes out. I mean, they're just going to do a fuel and go here, which would probably be what they would do. I don't know if you need tires here, unless you just do right sides. If there's enough time to just take a full tank here and right sides.
Well, I'm really surprised. It looks like a lot of these drivers taking tires, and unless it takes that long to fuel up with this. That's shocking to me. I mean, you're not wearing the tires too much here at Talladega, so the fact that they're going to want to take tires and use up that time to take tires is really shocking. But now here comes the cavalry, and who's going to make it, who's not? There we go. We got some major incidents coming into the pits. Captain Killam involved. I mean, that was that was the big one at Talladega, and it happened on pit road.
Wow.
There's going to be a lot of penalties for sure on that entry for a lot of these drivers.
We got 3 trucks that stayed out here. We got 94, 24, and 44.
And this may work out very, very well. Yeah. I can't say so much for Villarreal, as he's kind of stuck in between the 2 teammates here, Vi Tuckles and Michael Funkhauser Jr. And Funkhauser can get up there, but yeah, this is going to work out very, very nicely, I think, because it certainly was a jumble up there. And now you'll see they're coming into the pits this time by. We'll see if they get it a little bit cleaner. The 24 way down the bottom, locking it up, as is Tuckles. And there we go to get it rolled up.
Yeah, the only reason I say you take tires, because normally you wouldn't here, right? I mean, but with the hot track and
Villarreal overshoots his pit and started to jump in there. But that could be big.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You don't want to do that either. You want to try to stay as tight, especially with only 3 of them here. I mean, hopefully they can jump out and get in with somebody and get a good exit here. Because the 19 is going to be leading the race. Oh, wow, look at that. See, man.
Coming off of pit road here. As 12 goes by to get his lap back, and here comes the 19 and the 8, as the 8, Kevin Martin, is a lap down, but also doesn't care who's behind him right now. He just wants somebody to push him and get out in front here. And we take a look at the track map now. We got dots all over the place. This thing has spread out immensely. We'll take a look at that entry here one more time for all these drivers, and really kind of started up front here as everybody was dodging and diving all around here. Looks like the 22 getting into the 45, entering pit road, but you see the 78, Duke was not going to make it, and neither was the 52 anyway. The 30 getting sideways, the 200 getting into the back of the 22, and just mass chaos entering pit road. This has certainly shaken things up. Obviously, a caution will bring everything right back together, but that's certainly not what Helzel, your winner of so many races so far this year, wants to see. He would rather just see this thing go right to the end. But I'll tell you what, a bit of a rough exit and a rough pit stop there for Funkhauser Jr. as he lost his teammate and Villarreal at the front. Now he joins up with the second pack, the one that got involved in the incident, as they're going to try and join up here and take a run getting to the front. But you see the gap. I mean, a pretty sizable gap now between your first two guys and the rest of them.
Those guys were that fourth on back here. Jeff Byers, Z-Racing, iRacing side, they need to get in the single file line immediately, because there's only 14 laps to go now, and they're 7 seconds behind. And they got to get going. They got to get in the line, because we got here.
And what's crazy here is we got Helzel in the front here, and then 3 lap cars in between them before you have Tuckles and Villarreal here at the back of this pack. So we got a 5-car breakaway, but 3 of them, or actually, yeah, sorry, 6-car breakaway, but 3 of them are lap cars. 3 of them are your top 3.
Yeah, so there's a race in the race here, because they're trying to get the lucky dog, right? I mean, I would be trying to push them. If I'm the lap cars, let's work together here. Let's go ahead and get around Tyler, so that we're all on the lead lap. We're at the tail end of it in case the Carson comes out. That's our best strategy. Or if you're the 8, do you just hold him off and then you get the lucky dog? And there we go. The 8's going to get around here. He's going to get the inside.
19 gets shoved up there a bit. We'll see what happens now as the 8, the 12, and now the 78 going to go by. And I think what you're seeing here is, like, you know, for instance, the 78 here, Big Duke, getting a penalty here entering pit road. You know, unsafe entry that cost him 40 seconds in pit lane, and quite a few drivers getting those penalties. Going to be in there as Chris Melton, Chris Gutierrez, Kevin Martin, so Big Duke and Vincent Pagano all having to serve penalties on that pit stop. But it's left us with, well, a 6-car breakaway, but now you got the 3 lap cars in front. You got Tyler Helzel, and then a small little gap as Helzel has disappeared. He comes back though. You certainly don't want to do that. We've seen that before, and we've seen it cost drivers a win. But Helzel out here in the lead by about 3/4 of a second, but Tuckles and Francisco Villarreal working together to reel this pack in. Gonna be tough though. I mean, 4 trucks versus 2. You see these 2 tucked up real close and trying to drive as straight as possible, cut that wind as much as possible. But then you look from 3rd on back, about 6 seconds.
There's still double file back there. I mean, that's one thing. Like I say, these guys got to understand the situation here. I mean, there's no sense to run it for 4th here right now. I mean, if there's only 5 laps to go, then yeah, we're running it out. But they have plenty of time to catch these guys. I mean, I know it's 6 seconds, but you have so many more trucks than these guys. You can get this energy going and get somebody out front that can, you know, hold a good line, and somebody that can hold a good push and get this train going. You know, the 45, I would guarantee, is a pretty good pusher. He's the one you want to be pushing or leading this pack.
Well,
you guys need to fall in line here. And
we say all of that, but then look at the times. They are cutting in. I mean, one way or another, maybe 2 wide is better. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, and right now it's working out pretty nicely, and they're putting in some good times, cutting in about 2 seconds on that last lap. We'll bring up the lap times here and show you right there the difference between Villarreal and 4th place here. Good 1.7 seconds.
They're there.
And all of a sudden,
what? Are these guys off pace?
not sure what is going on. I mean, I know, I just got done saying we've seen crazy things happen. This, I don't know. This, I'm throwing my hands up. I have no idea what is going on right now.
The 12 and the 8 drove away from Tyler like he is sitting still. Like, are these guys...
Are we in a situation that they can't make it on fuel?
Yeah, okay. I wondered if it was going to be close.
I mean, we've seen Helzel kind of just jump to the top and let them run, but now look at Helzel out there all by himself. Doesn't have any help, and you see the guys behind him. You see Ituckles, you see Francisco Villarreal. Now they picked up Michael Funkhauser Jr. I think these guys are playing the fuel strategy game. I mean, if it's Villarreal, yeah, he's playing a fuel strategy game, and it almost worked out for him once before. Just ran out on the last lap, but very, very interesting here. I mean, you look at it. They all came into the pit on lap number 8. We got back going, you know, figured maybe on lap 12 or so. So this is going to be tight. I mean, this seems like it's quite a bit of fuel saving to get all the way to the end here. But you know, I mean, you look at how long it is to get in and off the pit lane. You're playing that close to about 40 seconds. So they can give up 40 seconds to these guys up front and still have a chance in this thing.
I am straight flabbergasted right now, Carl. This is, I mean, so they put it on lap 24, so they would need 16 laps. 16 laps?
And it seems like they ran about...
Probably too much, yeah. I guess
they ran 16 laps from the last caution, but a few of those were those pace laps after they came into the pits. So you got to save those pace laps worth of fuel here under full speed. So I mean, I guess if you back it down and go pace speed, you may have a shot. But this is going to be testing it, and it's close. It's close enough that yeah, maybe you go for maybe a gamble. But looks like these boys out here, after the issues coming into pit lane, it's worked out. They're up here, they're racing, and they're racing hard, and I almost feel like they maybe need a caution now, because they may have lost out on this thing.
Yeah, the top 5, I mean, the leader here, he put it on lap 22, so that's going to be stretching it. Oh, you got someone on pit road.
It looks like Kevin Martin, Tyler Bryan, and Big Duke all coming in, as is Vincent Pagano.
So they definitely were going to make it. I wonder if the 94, 24, 19 has the strategy. I wonder if to just back it off. That was, you don't ever see that. To gain 4 seconds on a lap like this, track like this.
Well, what's interesting is the 3 of the 94 Tuckles, the 24 of Villarreal, the 44 of Funkhauser Jr. have yet to pick up the 19 of Tyler Helzel. You see him still in the back, and it seems like they don't want to give him any help. I guess he's won enough races, or maybe he's just keeping a little bit faster pace than they want to go right now. I mean, Helzel pit at lap 23. The other 3 behind him pit at lap number 24. So they got another lap of fuel compared to him. So I think they're maybe realizing that, and they're realizing he's going to save an extra lap of fuel other than himself. But how about this? Jonathan Marsh, Joshua Delaha in pit lane from the top 5. So there you go. Not going to make it on fuel. They decide to come in, take a splash, and dash to get out here. Now we'll see what happens here, because obviously if you come into the pits and come back out, you can full throttle. You're going to have enough fuel to get into the end. Can they run these drivers down?
Yeah, I mean, and the way you see the track map, everybody's spread out right now. There's not a big pack. So the percentage of a caution is really low right now. I mean, it's never 0 at a play track, but it's a lot lower than it would normally be. And the 24 is going to get around the 94 as they are finally going to get to the 19 here. I mean, I think I would have been up on the 19 a lot sooner just to get his free air, right? I mean,
and there's an idea of the difference of speed right now.
Yeah.
The 8 and the 30 going by, they are not saving fuel at all. They don't need to. They are also a lap down. But that's the difference in speed right there. Absolutely blowing by these drivers. And We got some more taken to pit lane. iRacing inside. Your leader comes into pit lane. As we've got 5 laps to go. James Wagoner, now your leader out here, but he is yet to make that final pit stop. He pit on lap number 23, but it looks like he's just gonna try and do what he can and maybe use the 8 to try and push him and get him out there. As Byers looks like
emergency now because he just came and got fuel, and he's gonna be able to have enough to go here. He may have played this right and came and just got that splash to dash and go. But
Captain Kellum gets out there, as does ZM Racing. Yeah, they build up enough of a gap that they can actually come in and take that pit stop and stay out ahead of Helzel, Tuckles, Funkhauser Jr.
Wagoner to the pits. Oh, he spun it.
Wagoner sideways, and he's going to have to turn that thing around, and it's probably going to be a pit road penalty for him right there. But will we see Captain Kellum, Jeff Byers, finally get his first win on the season? He's kind of been the best of the rest, along with Francisco Villarreal for quite some time now. But now he leads this thing. Does he have enough fuel? We got 4 laps to go, but he's got ZM Racing right behind him. And now it looks like Francisco Villarreal feels like he has enough fuel. He has joined the battle at the front. It's a 3-car breakaway. And then you got another 7-8 seconds back to iTuckles, and he's going to get passed now by iRacing side. So they may be able to make it on fuel, but they are dropping positions left and right at this point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the 24 has enough, because he pit on lap 24 and hasn't come back down to give him more fuel. So obviously the 45 and 22 should have enough here. But did the 24 save enough on those laps where they were 4 or 5 seconds off pace here? Was he able to either clutch it, kill the engine, have an extra gallon of gas hidden somewhere? I mean,
is Villarreal going to have another race that he just misses out because of fuel? I mean, he's trying it again here, trying to stretch this thing out on fuel. Captain Kellum, ZM Racing, Francisco Villarreal, your top 3 by a wide margin, getting close to 10 seconds now until you get back to iTuckles, iRacing side, Funkhauser, and Tyler Helzel, as they're starting to mix it up back there. But we've got 2 to go here at Talladega. It looks like we may see a new winner here on the season. All 3 of these guys in the top 3 have yet to get into the win column. Tyler Helzel to pit lane. He is not gonna win here tonight unless he gets a timely caution here at the end of this thing. So that takes one of our previous winners out of a big dude right now. 1 lap down. So really, it's just down to iTuckles. He's the only one that has a chance, that has one ready.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a situation where the 22, I mean, where do you make your move? This is only 3 cars here, 3 trucks. I mean, the 45 is going to be blocking his butt off here as we come into the white flag. I mean, when does the 22 make a move, and will the 24 go with him?
I don't know if the 24 has the fuel to be able to go with him. I think he's just kind of sitting here, and he's hoping that these guys mix it up, and maybe he steals a win here at the end of it. I mean, he's got a good sizable gap back to 4th place right now, but I don't know if he's got the fuel to really be able to stand on that loud pedal and try and race these guys. They're coming up on some lap traffic here, and you see Villarreal trying to take the shortest way around this track and trying to make this thing all the way to the end. He's dropping off this pack a little bit, though, as it's going to be a 2-truck race back to the line. Captain Kellum, ZM Racing, both without a win on the season. 2 more quarters to go.
I don't know if he's going to be able to build up a run here. I mean, it's just so hard. He's going to have to almost door him to get kind of a side draft. But Jeff Byers
coming down to the tri-oval. Will he make the move? He looks to the outside, trying to get a little bit of a side draft. Gets a peek of it, side by side to the line. Photo finish, gonna go to ZM Racing by .001.
Wow! Unbelievable move!
Villarreal will bring it home in 3rd. Looks like Marsh and Funkhauser are going to finish out your top 5. But we got to take a look at that thing one more time.
Wow.
As they both wreck each other on the backstretch. What a finish to this race.
He timed it perfectly.
And no better than to use
Yep.
the photo finish cam and show you how close this thing was.
Boom. Wow.
What a race. What a finish here for ZM Racing. Getting the first win on the season. We'll take a look at it one more time and jump on board with him and show you when he decided to make that move, as it was not a moment too late. Perfect timing, 0.001, 1,000th of a second after 40 laps is what separates first from second. And man,
these provide good finishes. I mean, it's usually in a pack, but not two trucks like that. But wow, what a move.
I mean, at this point, they're coming out of the tri-oval. He's still not ahead, but you see how much that side draft just pulls the 45 back, and ZM Racing gets it done.
Unbelievable move. Wow.
Fortunately for them, it looks like they may have wrecked their trucks on the backstretch there, so no celebrating going to be done. But we'll bring up your finishing order here while we get everybody ready for their interviews. And man, I think I need a breather after that one. That was crazy coming to the line, but you see it right there. ZM Racing by 0.001 over Captain Killam, who is still yet to get a win on the season. Francisco Villarreal, Jonathan Marsh, Michael Funkhauser Jr., your top 5. Tuckles, Charles Abert, Scott Gilroy, Chris Gutierrez, Chris Melton, your top 10. Then you got Kevin Martin, Joshua Delaha, James Wagoner, Tyler Helzel, iRacing Inside, your top 15. Timothy Wright, Maxwell Shade, Matthew Hott, Joshua Laughlin, Big Duke, Tyler Bryan, Riley Romeo, Vincent Pagano, Paul Lawson, and Keith says yes. Keith Powell rounding out the field here tonight. I said it during the broadcast. I'm not a big fan of Super Speedway Racing. Doesn't mean I don't like to broadcast them, because they put on a heck of a battle. And this is why I don't like short track racing. It is nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you get the right guys, and this is the best racing. I mean, it's so exciting. That's what a finish. I mean, thousandths of a second, just like that. I mean, and the rest of the field stretched out.
Not thousandth, 8,000th.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
No. And to make a move like that and do it cleanly and just enough to be there. I mean, wow. The way the things got stretched out there, and the fuel mileage came into a factor. I mean, just some really good clean racing here too tonight. I mean, definitely a drastic change from Daytona. You know, Daytona was a wreck fest, but it was the first race of the season, and these boys were learning, and a lot more trucks on the track too. But what a way to kind of correct that and put this race on here tonight. What a great race.
Yeah, and I mean, they even had a last lap wreck there in Daytona, but here, anything but. I mean, some good clean racing and a good clean pass on the outside. You see that it wasn't a big block there by Jeff Byers. He gave him the outside. He gave him that shot to get around there, and it took some absolute precision side drafting to get this thing done. And he absolutely does it. So congrats to him. Just waiting to see if we can get Francisco Villarreal in here to get his interview. But I mean, Talladega at its finest. It puts us through eight races now on the season. Now we finally have 4 different winners.
Yeah, we add another gold number to our list there. Another guy's going to punch his ticket here and be locked in to the playoffs here, and add another number on that board. And I'm sure he's just going to be pumped. I mean, to win any race is awesome, but then to win it like that, kind of like what we just seen in CSRL with Devin Young. I know it wasn't for the win, but to be able to make a late last lap pass for position, I mean, and the way he did it too in similar fashion is just exhilarating.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, he's sitting outside the top 10 in points. He's sitting 15th coming in here tonight, and a good 19 points behind 10th place, and only had 15 coming in. So needed something like this for a good, legitimate shot at making the playoffs, and that's all it can take. It just takes that one win to vault you into that playoff mix, and he can. I don't want to say he can sit back and relax now. I mean, now he can just kind of. Let his hair down a little bit and have some fun these last 4 races before the playoffs kick up. But looks like, unfortunately, we're not going to have Francisco here for the third place interview. But we'll hop right in and bring up our second place finisher here tonight. And that is going to be the 45 of Jeff Byers, Captain Killam. Joe, why don't you go ahead and take Jeff?
Hey, Jeff, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, man, I know you didn't want to be on that end of it, but what a great finish. What a great race here tonight. Drastic difference from the first race of the year at Daytona. You guys put on a really good, clean racing here tonight, and only just had the one caution. Kind of talk us through this race. It seemed like, obviously, fuel came into a factor there at the end of the race.
Yeah, we'll go back to the first green flag stop when we came in, and me and ZM Racing got into each other and spun it coming onto pit road, and I thought our race was over. Mm-hmm. And then we came out, and somehow we're still kind of in 5th, and we got hooked up with iRace inside and chased the leaders down. I'm guessing they were trying to save fuel, but I looked at the fuel. I was like, no, there's no reason to try to save that much. And I was like, but we got to push, get by them, and gap them enough to be able to pit and them not get back around us. And so that was my fuel strategy instead of save. And apparently that was the right one, because after we pit for fuel and come out, we were ahead of everybody still.
Yeah, it was real interesting. We had just started talking about it, and the 19 and 94 and I think 24 were extremely off pace. Like they were like 4 or 5 seconds a lap slower than you guys, and it was just really weird. I mean, usually you don't want to save that much fuel, like you said. It's just too much to try to save because you're just going to get outpaced. But it was really weird to see them so far off pace. But going back to that pit stop there, it was. The big one happened on pit road here. I mean, there was that caution, but it wasn't really a big one. Only 3 or 4 or 5 trucks were involved. But when you guys pit and you and the 22 got together, everybody else was involved. I mean, everybody who was pit with you had some kind of issue, either speeding or unsafe entry, or had got collected up into it. So the big wreck happened on pit road.
Yeah, that's wild. I was wondering what happened because I thought our race was done. And I also thought I was going to get all kinds of penalties and stuff, but I didn't somehow.
Yeah,
I changed tires, which I actually wasn't trying to change tires. I had clicked them off on my way into pit road, and somehow they got clicked back on. So fortunately for us, it worked out. I hate that everybody else got caught up in something, but it's kind of wild. I like the green flag pit stops, and then, getting in packs, trying to chase down other packs. I really love doing that kind of thing, so I had a blast doing that.
Yeah, we had just talked about how after that you had got back on the track and you guys were kind of double file there, side by side, and I was like, they really need to get in line here and to try to run down the leader at that point. But that was kind of before we kind of realized that they were going to be saving fuel, and you guys had caught them like instantly and kind of threw everything what we were talking about out of the window. But I want to go to the last lap, Jeff, and kind of what were you expecting there, or what could you have maybe done a little bit different to hold the 22 off?
Yeah, so that's a heartbreaker because I was waiting on him to make a move coming out of 4, Mm-hmm. And then he kind of stayed behind me. We get in the tri-oval, and he starts just easing up a little bit. And I eased up a little bit with him. And I was like, there's no way he can get a run from the middle of the tri-oval to the finish line from where he's at. Because it's not like he backed it up to get a run and then was going to go around me. So as he moved up, I kind of slid up a little bit. And I was like, well, I don't want to wreck us. And I let him go ahead and get on the outside because I was convinced he wasn't going to be able to get enough of a run. And then as we're coming across the finish line, I'm already kind of pumping my fist that we got the win, and I look down and we didn't. And I guess it side drafted me just enough to give him a nose at the line, which is surprising to me, but he played it right.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of surprised he was able to get that run too. I mean, even with the side draft, there wasn't a lot of racetrack left, right? I mean, you're taking the shorter distance. He's coming around the outside through the tri-oval and having to travel more of a distance. But somehow, I mean, it timed it perfectly just to be able to beat you by 1,000th. I mean, I can imagine why you thought you had won when you crossed the line. I mean, there's no way you would imagine him getting that run on the outside. But yeah, like you said, a heartbreaker to come, you know, to kind of almost feel like it was snatched away on pit road entry, and then to kind of get back into it and then be leading the last couple laps, and just another heartbreaker. But it's coming for you. We know you're fast.
Oh yeah, okay. Y'all said that last time. Look what just happened. All right,
you're getting closer. Yeah, I mean, you're getting a hell of a lot closer.
See, you got to get second. Now you're gonna get first. There's just levels to it. But, you come away second here. I know it's a heartbreaker. It's going to sting for a little bit, but you'll get back on that horse, and you know, we'll see what happens next week. And you still got 4 races left in the regular season. So, but before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
That was ZM Racing. Shout out for spinning me on pit road, and then us recovering and us running all the way up to the front and battling it out, and him getting the win. That's pretty cool with him. And then obviously Keith Says Yes. I got a truck being delivered from Keith Says Yes tomorrow, because I've been truck shopping for a while, and they had the best deal I've found by far, and they're delivering it from West Virginia to Atlanta. So shout out to them, and then Big Duke for all the administrative stuff, and then you guys for always putting on a good show. So, and the whole field. I mean, we had one caution. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good racing tonight here, and it's come a long way since the first race of the season, and it's gotten a lot cleaner, and the racing has gotten a lot better, and you know, providing finishes like that is awesome for this league and for you guys out there. So congrats on second, and we'll see you next week, Jeff.
That is your second place finisher here tonight, Captain Killam, Jeff Byers in the 45. Your winner here tonight is going to be the 22 ZM Racing 12, Zach Mayhew. Zach, are you breathing yet? I guess that's the first question. Has the heart rate come down at all?
No, that was insane. I felt so bad because I haven't actually went back and looked at it yet, but I feel like the wreck on pit road was my fault. And Cap's one of my friends, so you never want to wreck a friend, much less when you're running 1-2, you know, like we were. I was pushing really well throughout that entire run. Then we get on pit road. I've got a single monitor. It was really hard to see to the inside and the outside, you know, stuff like that. I was too busy looking in the mirrors. I should have been paying more attention. I'd take full responsibility for that. The fact that we ended up back up front was insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, Talladega is usually about some kind of strategy. I can't believe the strategy that we've seen, and I agree with you guys of catching back up to the leaders, but the leaders decide to go long and try and stretch that thing out on fuel, and it brings you guys right back into the mix. But you guys still had to come into the pits, so I guess talk through that second one. I mean, the first one obviously didn't go too well under green flag, but then you guys still had to come in and make that splash and dash.
Oh, and I was scared half to death. I was praying that we would get a yellow sooner or later, but it didn't come, and I backed off as much as I could. I was like, I'm definitely wrecking Cap twice on pit road.
Well, you guys get back out there, and surprisingly, it was a big enough gap when you came in that you come right back out there in the lead, and it was a 3-car breakaway there as Villarreal caught up to you guys, but he had to stretch that thing out to the end. So, I mean, were you looking at that? Did you have any idea that it was just really technically down to you and Cap?
No, not at all, because we were so far behind, and I actually almost spun a couple times coming. Well, I'm not gonna say I almost spun, but I got a little loose coming off pit road a couple times. Obviously with the spin and the wreck, it ruined my right front. But by that point, you can't take tires, or else you're giving away the race. So I there was no way that we were going to catch back up, and then we did. And then it was me, him, and I think the 19 was behind us. And I was hoping and praying that the 19 would be able to catch up and fill that gap, but I also wasn't going to leave Cap's bumper. And then coming out of turn 4, that was insane. On the one hand, I was sitting there thinking, like, at this point, I didn't wreck the guy. I kind of got pushed into the wind. But at the same time, it's like, you also got to go for the win. So,
yeah, I mean, you're winning in, you got to go for it.
Exactly. And that was it was insane. I kind of wish I wouldn't have waited so long to go for it. I was kind of hoping, like I said, the 19 would kind of come. He never did. I never even backed off to get a run or anything. I mean, it was so quick.
Yeah, it was
the decision to actually go for it.
The 24 behind you guys. Yeah, he pit all the way back on lap number 24, so he had to save and make sure he made it all the way to the end. But I mean, you come off the corner off of turn number 4, and you're still right there. But Talladega is not like Daytona. The finish line is not in the middle of the tri-oval. So I mean, you talk about having patience for 39 laps to be in the position you're in, but you still had to have patience until you finally made that pass in the tri-oval.
Oh yeah, I've been there multiple times. I've only got 60-some wins in almost 2,000 starts. I'm pretty sure at least 50 of them are at Talladega, most of them the 87s, but I've won in every single car you possibly can over the last 3 years at Talladega. So I'm not going to say, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm kind of used to it, especially on the last lap like that. A lot of my wins have come in a normal pack, and then you take the outside, and then eventually you come down. I think that might be the first time I've ever actually pulled that off. So, but that was insane. And then I didn't even think that I won. I'm sitting there thinking, like, damn. And then I look down. I'm like, oh wait, no, I won.
Well, we're watching it here on the screen right now, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, you guys were through the tri-oval completely, and you still weren't even halfway. You didn't even have your bumper at his door, and all of a sudden, just one last little side draft, it really just kind of shot you right there at the end. Oh,
that side draft was intentional. Trust me.
Well, it worked out.
By that point, I was full-fledged trying to get the win. But like I said, I didn't think it was going to happen. And kudos to Cap for not throwing the block. He could have blocked me at any point, and I wouldn't have said a word about it, especially after wrecking him on pit road.
Well, listen, it doesn't matter if you win by 15 seconds or by .001. It's just that you get the win, and you come in here 15th in points, and really looking up at a pretty sizable gap points-wise to try and get yourself into the top 10. You don't have to worry about that now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've missed a couple races with it being so hot. It stormed a few weeks ago, and I didn't think I was going to be able to make this race because it was storming earlier. And then last week, something else come up, and I wasn't able to make it. So missing those 2 races really hurt, especially Atlanta. I believe it was Atlanta because I like old Atlanta. And you don't really get to run too many officials at old Atlanta anymore because new Atlanta exists. So sucked missing that. And then Dover, I didn't want to miss that either, but missing 2 races sucked.
Well,
put me in a hole.
We got your win
about that now.
Yeah, you got your win under the belt, and now you got basically 4 free races. I mean, what are the thoughts now heading into? You got Martinsville, Texas, Richmond, and Vegas before the playoffs start. So is it just, well, screw it, I can just pretty much go for the win in every race? Is it trying to just maybe make some friends and kind of set yourself up for a good playoff run? I mean, what's the outlook here for the next 4 races?
Well, with some of the iRatings in here, it's gonna be hard to win on real tracks. Daytona and Talladega and Atlanta, they're obviously my bread and butter. So that kind of sucks not having any in the playoffs. But when you got Cap and Duke and some of these other big name guys who have these high ratings, and here I am struggling to tell 1,500 to 2K throughout a week. I'm not giving up. Definitely.
No, absolutely. But, I mean, you're in the mix. That's all that matters. You're in that locked in that top 10 now. So, congrats on the win tonight. An awesome run to the end, and it was certainly fun to watch here on the broadcast. So, before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Duke, obviously. If you want to get any of the Keep Diggin merch, save 10% using my code ZMRacing12. You can also follow me on TikTok at ZMRacing12. Go live every once in a while. I don't have many followers though, so it's kind of hard to I'm just trying to gain traction and all.
Well, I think
And
maybe
obviously Keith. I'm sorry, I almost forgot about Keith.
bring up this this little replay and then show from the tri-oval to the finish line. It should be a nice little TikTok video right there, and show everybody out there what a thousandth of a second victory looks like.
Right. First comes the video of me wrecking Cap.
The apology comes first.
Exactly. Good call.
I apologize so many times over the radio. I apologize to him over here on Discord. I'm about to go right to his chat and apologize about 3 or 4 more times.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the win. We'll see you next week.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
That is ZM Racing at 12, the 22 of Zach Mayhew. Yeah, I mean, and not much you can say about a race that comes down to a thousandth of a second at the line. I mean, it shows you exactly what can happen on these play track races and how close it can be. We've seen pit strategy, pit wrecks. We've seen just about everything. And I think the first time I've ever seen cars just deciding to go slow at Talladega.
Yeah, it's had everything, right? I mean, wow. And only a 40-lap race. We've seen all of that just compacted into that 40-lap race. And for it to come down to a thousandth of a second and that kind of finish, and just the way it kind of played out is not really typical Talladega or typical plate racing. But hey, any way you can get a win, any way you can get a good finish, get it done. I mean, the circumstances may change, but just get that result. And for the 22 to come in here, like you said, so far down on points, and to be able to snatch a victory and get himself into the playoffs. And he may not have too much confidence on anything other than plate tracks, but hey, anything can happen. Who knows? It's just all about being good for those last couple races and giving yourself a chance. You can't, like we said, you gotta have a seat at the table to have a chance. So he's got that now, and we'll see if he can capitalize on it.
You can't win it unless you're in it, and now he is officially in it. So we'll see what he can do in the playoffs. I want to send a thank you out to everybody that tuned in here tonight. I know Barry out there, David, Kidda, Joey Cherry. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Desert Rose Bow Company obviously tuning in, and thank you to all the sponsors out here for the series: Kohr Crab and Supplies, Keep Diggin, MVV Travel, Drop Gear Racing, GTR Simulator, Desert Rose Bow Company, Cookies for Kids Cancer, and of course KeithSaysYes.com. Go check out KeithSaysYes.com or check them out in Hurricane, West Virginia, or Huntington, West Virginia. Get yourself $1,000 off the purchase of a new or used vehicle by just mentioning the league here. And I mean, you heard from Keith Byers that he just bought a brand new truck from them, and clearly got the best deals around. So check him out. But if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything Assyrian has to offer. I mean, if you like racing, if you like good racing, I don't know why you're not subscribed already. I mean, it's been fantastic. We had a great race earlier before this with CSRL at Le Mans in the rain, and then we come over to this and do the back-to-back like we do here on Wednesday nights, and it's a blast. It's a couple hours of my life that is just absolutely phenomenal, and we appreciate bringing it to you guys. I want to thank my buddy here in the booth, Joe Sullivan, for putting on another great broadcast here. But for myself, Carl Hamwork, and the CRN team, we'll see you at the track.